Just setting up the live stream so we can stream it into the Circle community for those of you guys that maybe can't make it on live. Glad to see all of you guys made it live. We'll give it a few more minutes and we'll get started. Oh, hold on. I've got myself coming in both ends. Stand by. All right, everybody. Welcome. If you guys want to pop in the chat where you're joining us from, I would love to see. We'll wait another minute or two. Got all the behind the scenes tech set up and running. Always good when that goes well. I get to breathe a sigh of relief and actually get on with the training, which is awesome. Super excited to see you guys. Well, Tiffany's joining us from Germany. We've got Alberta, UK, Edmonton, Spain. Hi, Fiona. Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Florida, Quebec, Chicago, Nova Scotia. I love it. All over the place. Pittsburgh. Hey, Jackie. Below zero, Minneapolis. Yeah, man, you guys have some brutal winters. I was complaining down here because we actually had like 2 weeks where it was, below freezing every night and, high around 40. I'm like, wow, no, this is too cold. Our average January temperature is 52 here in North Carolina. Spoiled. I am very spoiled with our weather. So I moved. All right. I'll give it one more minute here. It's 11 o'clock. Do a little housekeeping real quick. Welcome, guys, to our free training. If you are joining us from inside our new community, hope you guys have been loving our new community. It's been super fun to set up, and I've loved getting to know all of you guys, interacting with everybody there. We're going to continue to grow that and offer fun things like this purely in that community. So super excited to have you here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start recording. Hold on. I have to stop my share. 1 second. Let me start recording and screen share. Okay. Let's get started. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me try this again. That way I don't see my whole desktop. There we go. That's better. Are you guys just seeing the slides? Let me know in the chat real quick, por favor. Yes. All right, perfect. Okay, let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to our live free training, the Pet Photographer's Pricing Workshop, 7 pricing mistakes that many pet photographers make. I actually thought about it just a few minutes ago. I was eating some breakfast. I was like, oh, I should call it the 7 deadly sins of pricing, because that's what we're going to talk about, because a lot of these are really common mistakes. I made lots of these mistakes when I was starting out, and I don't want you guys to make them like I did. And quite frankly, some of these really small, easy tweaks can result in your business being much more profitable than it is currently. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, you're in the right place. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. You are in the right place if you want to earn more money, per session, whether you're a professional pet photographer, someone's just starting to get a business plan together, or if you fall anywhere between the two. So if you're currently taking money for pet photography or plan to, you definitely want to stick around for this conversation. In here, we're going to go over 7 pricing mistakes that so many photographers, and really these apply to all portrait photographers, that fall victim to, but not you. You're going to rise above and be armed with more knowledge so that you don't fall into these traps. It means that each of these tips, there's something you can implement right after this training. And we're going to spend our time digging deep into the good stuff, exactly with what works, not holding anything back. If you guys have questions as we go through this training, pop it in the chat. Amanda, hashtag Amanda Saves the Day in the Circle community. I'm going to make it a thing, is keeping track of some questions, and we'll do questions at the end. She's also tracking any of you guys that are streaming this live in the Circle community. You can put your questions under there. I'm not going to be able to see them as we go through, but Amanda's keeping tabs, and we will touch base with questions at the end of this. And also, for those of you guys not in the Hair of the Dog Academy, I am going to be sharing an opportunity for how any of you that are not currently in the Academy can possibly join and work with me a little bit closer to get even more profitable pricing, among many, many other things. But enough about that. Let's jump into our pricing. Here's how we need to not determine our pricing. Snooping around to see what other photographers charge. Who's been guilty of that? I think we've all done that. How about charging the same rates that you see on the pricing templates of Etsy? Please don't do that. You will never be profitable. What about asking your friends and family for feedback on your price list? Also been there, done that. That is not a conversation that's enjoyable because they don't really understand what goes into pricing photography. So don't do any of those things. Instead, let's get to know our numbers. What does it actually cost to run our business? What are our profit goals? What's our target session average based on your client goals? Decide what pricing strategies fit your business goals. There is no one size fits all pricing solution. You could be high volume. You could be low volume. You can sell albums only. You can focus on wall art. You can focus only on digital files. You can make up your business however you want to build it, but you need to know those numbers so you can build it in a way that's profitable. So we need to decide what it is we want our business to look like. And then, of course, seek feedback from professionals, other photographers that have been there, done that, and commanded the prices that you hope to charge. Don't listen to the feedback from other people, friends and family, that think you are priced way too high. They're just saying that out of love because they want to protect you from putting those prices out there and feeling like no one's ever going to buy them. But let me tell you, there are people in every market that value what we do. We just need to get in front of them and share why it is that that they care about what we do and how we can help them and how we can serve them. All right. So who am I? Most of you guys know me. I'm Nicole Bagley, founder of Hair of the Dog. I started my photography business, Nicole Bagley Photography, way back in 2010. I started by having my first 5 sessions were all-inclusive digital-only sessions in 2010 for a grand total of $197 each. So I'll set that up. It was a little bit less than $1,000 I made for my first 5 sessions. I went to Imaging, the big conference from Professional Photographers of America. I saw a presentation on artwork, on selling wall art, Pro Select, like how to run a boutique business. My eyes were opened. I switched to that, and I had my first 5K sale, my very first session after switching to that pricing model. I realized that's an outlier. Most of my sessions after I made that switch did come in at a $1,500 average though. So I made a significant jump in my session average right out of the gate in that very first year. You guys, I look back at my work and I kind of want to apologize to those clients for the work I was creating. So I am a huge believer in always growing our craft and making sure that we are creating sellable artwork and that the artwork we're creating is technically correct. Of course, we want that to happen. But I don't want any of you sitting back and waiting and waiting and waiting and feeling like you need to be this award-winning photographer that's been creating this amazing, beautiful works of art for years and years before you are allowed to charge. I give you permission. You may charge now. So get out there and make some money. I had my first six-figure photography income year in 2012. And my current 2021 average sale was $3,287, excuse me, with a 17.7% cost of goods sold. So that's who I am. That's where I've been with pricing. And these are some of the tips I want to share with you today. So we're going to talk about how the mistakes that many people have is not understanding their cost of goods sold, printing prints or pricing prints based on the paper value, offering individual prints or files, pricing albums without including your time, offering everything and the kitchen sink, undervaluing your digital files, and last but not least, bringing it home with a belief that clients decide solely on price. All right, are you guys excited? Okay, let's jump in. Mistake number one, not understanding our cost of goods sold. It's a four-letter word. I get it. It's scary. People are like, what the heck is the cost of goods sold? I have no freaking idea, Nicole. Oh my God. It's not that bad. I promise. Let's break it down. Cost of goods sold is really just the cost of doing business. So any cost you have in your business related to the sale of product is your cost of goods sold. So something like your education, your camera, your computer, your insurance, things like that are not cost of goods sold. Those are just costs of doing business, general expenses. Cost of goods sold would be your lab bill, your packaging. If you hire a retoucher, things like that would be your cost of goods sold. Okay, so one of the greatest things about PPA is they do these financial benchmarks every few years of the industry to see what the most profitable photography studios in the United States is charging, what they're making, what their profits are. And they break it down for home studios, which could be if you shoot on location, meaning you don't have a retail space. So you work out of your home, or retail studio recommendations, which is, again, if you have a retail space. So this is what they recommend. That a home studio, which is what most of us generally are, is $125,000 a year sales target. That is your general goal, often to run a sustainable business where you're paying yourself kind of a full-time salary. And when you do that, you want to keep your cost of goods sold below 25%. So you're marking things up times 4 as a general rule. There's going to be some outliers, which we're going to get into in these 7 mistakes, because that's one of the big mistakes people make. But say you have a piece of wall art that costs you $100. It's a general rule. You should sell that for at least $400. And what I do is after every single session, I have my order of like what my clients ordered. So I have how much they paid. And then I keep track of every penny of lab costs I have and add on my packaging cost. And then I do that cost of goods sold calculation for every single client so that I can see where I'm falling into things. And sometimes if they get a lot of artwork only, it's closer to that 25%. But if they have a piece of artwork and add on digital files and maybe add on an album, then I might come in at like 10 or 12%, which is awesome. You just want to make sure that average is below 25%. And, you know, if you have an occasional 27%, 30%, but you have others that are 15%, again, you want that average to be 25% or less. Of course, the lowest you can make, the lower you can make that cost of goods sold, the more profitable you are going to be. And then retail studio, this is, again, if you have a brick and mortar space, you're paying rent, you're paying utilities. For those spaces, they recommend $225,000 in sales target, still a 25% cost of goods sold. Your general expenses are going to be 40% and your profit 35%. Oh, sorry, I didn't go over the rest of those numbers. I got sidetracked. For home studio. For a home studio, you just have a little bit more on the profit and a little bit less general expenses. So those numbers for home studio, again, $125,000 for your sales target, 25% cost of goods sold, 30% general expenses, things like education, cameras, office expenses, 45% profit in your pocket profit. Okay. How does this work in the real world? Let's take a look at some examples. Here's a potential client order. And I wanted to show you this because the digital files are wonderful things to add on to your sales. People are like, Nicole, should we not sell digitals? You can do whatever you want. I love to sell digitals in addition to beautiful printed pieces. I don't love selling digitals on their own. So I kind of price them in a way where it doesn't really make sense to buy them on their own. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But here's an example order. A client orders a 16 by 24 wall piece for $1,000, an 8 by 8 album for $14.99, and they add on the digital files from their session for $9.99. Now I figure out my cost to fulfill the order. My wall piece was $225, my album cost $140, and my digital files technically didn't cost anything. We're going to talk about time in a few minutes. So I can figure out this cost of goods sold. It's just the cost to fulfill. I add up those underneath those cost to fulfill, which is $365, divided by what my client paid me, which is $3,498. And then I'm going to get something like 0.1043. So you can multiply by 100 to move that decimal point over to your actual percent, which is 10.43% cost of goods sold. That is an awesome cost of goods sold. I love to try to shoot for something like this. Now, I want to show that same example, but without adding the digital files. For here, you can see, again, same prices, cost to fulfill. You can see your cost of goods sold has gone up a little bit. So I love working with some digital files to increase that, or actually decrease your cost of goods sold, but you're increasing the value for the client. You're increasing your profitability. And there's ways to do that, especially if you're doing an album, you're editing all those images. It's not going to cost you any additional time to include some high-res files or allow them to add them on for $4.99, whatever you want it to be, to help kind of make that bottom line a little bit more profitable. So does that all make sense? We need to understand our cost of goods sold. We need to track our cost of goods sold. Please don't put your head in the sand. Just do the simple calculation on all of your orders and just take stock of where you're at. And then once you know where you're at, then we can look at if we need to change anything. But you can't fix anything if you don't know where you are. All right, mistake number 2. And that is pricing prints according to the price of the paper. Spoiler alert. An 8 by 10 does not cost $3. This is where I see these Etsy product guides that you can, print off a little template in there and put in your pricing. And it's like 4 by 6, $6. Like, oh my God, no, please no. Yeah. Anyway, 8 by 10 does not cost $3. Let's look at the actual cost of an 8 by 10 because it didn't include our time. So if a client came to you and purchased one single 8 by 10, here's what it actually costs you. This is assuming you're paying yourself $60 an hour, which is kind of a low average rate. I would love to see everybody paying themselves at least $100 an hour. All right, here we go. Time to start shooting a session, 1 hour. Import and backup files, 10 minutes. Prepare 35 images for your sales session or review, 90 minutes. Hold a sales session, 1 hour. Retouch chosen image, 10 minutes. Cost for the 8 by 10 print, $3. Cost for mounting that print, $6. Cost for packaging, $3. So your total cost is actually $242 for one 8 by 10 print. It's a lot. It's a lot more than people realize. And then what this really means though, because you're like, well, wait, Nicole, what about that time? And this is what I like to call the first unit of sale challenge. So if a client orders just one image, then all that time needs to be paid for in that one image. But if they're going to order a wall piece and they're going to order some digital files and they're going to order an album, then your time is split amongst all of those different items. So then it becomes more profitable. But if they're buying only one item, then it becomes kind of challenging because you have to pay for all that time in there as well. All right. So with this, you can look at it and be like, okay, the shared cost for the labor of that print is actually $220, or my cost of my actual print is still $22. Oh, I actually messed that. That one should have been. All right. The cost of your actual print is $12. I lied. Sorry. I had this $10. I forgot to make that one red too. So your cost of your actual print is $12. So times 4, that is going to be 48. No. Yes. That's going to be $48. But you want to have to make sure you include that cost of labor too. So for that reason, general rule, I never ever want to see images less than $50 in a boutique business. Ideally, not less than 75. Ideally, even closer to 100 or even a little bit more. Okay, moving on to mistake number 3. Hey, Amanda, are you able to jump into the people everywhere and mute everyone, please? Although I might not have made you host. Hold on one second. Participants. You know, there we go. Okay, all set. I'll move this over. Okay, mistake number 3. All right. So this brings us, that first unit of sale challenge actually brings us to mistake number 3, which is offering individual prints or files. You get the call. I'm just looking for a few prints, or I just need a digital file for my Christmas card. Oh my gosh. How do we respond to those items? Because you don't want to say, no, that's not enough of an order for me. Goodbye. Like, that's not a great client, great client service. And you don't want to have the awkward conversation of like trying to say, oh, well, maybe I'm not the right fit for you. So instead, you let your price list self-select whether you're the right fit for them or not. And I do this by only offering prints and digital files in collections for a price that is at my like bare minimum. I will not leave the house if I'm not making about $500 for a session, because it's just not worth my time. So for instance, this is how you can say no without saying no. Here I have 5 desk prints for $449. And if they want additional ones, it's $75. Now, that's not to say if a client comes in, orders a beautiful wall piece, and then says, hey, I'd like just a single print for my desk, 100%, $75, I'll sell you a single print. But I don't need to put that in my product guide. And when people inquire about prints, I can say, sure, of course I offer prints. They come as a set of 5 for $449, or the same thing for digital files. Yes, of course I offer digital files. They start in packs of 5 all the way up to all the digital files for your session. And we're going to talk about some ways to also use those digital files as a pricing carrot. Oh, actually, it's the next one. Are you ready? Watch this hamster. Oh yeah, pricing carrot. Let me stick all those. Did you guys know that hamsters have cheek pouches? My daughter's had a hamster for about 2 years now. I had no idea. And so we gave her one night like a piece of green pepper, like a long skinny thing. And she's just like, boop, 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 put it all the way back there, went all the way back to her hip. It's amazing. And then she'll like just spit them out and they're like totally dry because it's like this dry cheek pouch. Anyway, this isn't a biological lesson about hamsters, but they're pretty cool. So let's use those digital files as carrots to encourage the sale you want to have. So when people call and say, hey, I'd like to just purchase a digital file, or do you offer the digital files? They're asking that because they really don't know any other questions to ask. So when they call, they just say, how much are your digital files? And then if I get a call or an email about that, I just let them know, hey, yeah, of course I sell digital files, but what I really focus on or specialize in is creating beautiful custom artwork. And there are opportunities to purchase the digital files on their own, or they get less expensive if you purchase them with products. So a couple different ways you can kind of create these digital file bonus structures is include the high-res file complimentary with ordered wall art of that one file. You can offer discounted digital files with a wall art purchase or an album purchase, or you can offer a bonus schedule to earn digital files for free. So that bonus schedule could be something like Say your average sale goal is $2,000. The bonus schedule could be if you spend $2,500 on product, you get all your images, your digital files as complimentary gift. If you spend $2,000 on product, you can add them for $295. If you spend $1,500 on product, add them for $495. Spend $1,000 on product, add them for $795. Do you see what I'm doing there? Every single one of those is getting them pretty darn close or over my average sale goal of $2,000 per client, and giving them the options to purchase what they want for products and then add on those digital files, and also keeping my cost of goods really low. So I love doing different things like that. And it turns your client from a discount seeker to a value seeker, which is really, really awesome. All right. Moving on to mistake number 4. And that is, what's that?
Real quick, Nicole, there was a question in the chat. Will the presentation be available, the slides afterwards?
Yeah, we're going to have the replay up for the next week in the Circle community, and then it'll live in the Academy if Academy members can watch it even past next week. It'll be up through February 1st.
Does that include the slides? I think that was the question.
Yeah. It'll be this video. So yeah, they'll be able to stream the video. Okay, jumping in. Thanks, Amanda. Mistake number 4, which is pricing albums without including your time. Dun, 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 dun. $100 album should not be priced at $400. Please, 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 no. Like, you're including all your images, even if you're including 10 or 20 images. No, we need to add more, because there's a lot of time when you're doing that $100 album. Even with 10 images, you're editing 10 final images. Your client is getting 10 images. So some different album considerations. Here's a cute puppy to help us. How long does the editing and designing take you? And then how many images are included? And what is the price per image in the album versus the price per image buying them as a print or digital file? So this is just kind of one of those art of pricing questions you might want to ask. And that is, like, you look at your album and you're like, okay, I've got 40 images in this $400, even 20, let's say 20. I've got 20 images in this $400, small album. But to get 20 images of digital files is $1,500. There's a major disconnect there. So you can definitely raise the value of these albums, or raise the price of those albums to make it more in line of what it costs per image for them to buy individual images. And it also includes paying you for your time to do the designing and the editing of all of those images. So for that, I recommend a general rule of 10 times pricing for albums. So if your album costs you $300, you might want to sell it for $3,000. If your album costs you $120, it might be a good $1,000 to $1,500 album. That's generally where all of my albums are priced. They're priced at about 10 times the cost, which works out well for making sure it's in line with what my other images cost for my digital files, making sure that my time is getting paid for all the design time and all that extra editing. All right, mistake number 5, offering everything in the kitchen sink. Those of you guys asking questions, Amanda's going to keep tabs and we will answer them towards the end. All right, so mistake number 5 is offering everything in the kitchen sink. Here's Bay Photo, great lab, but look at all the things they offer. I know a lot of photographers, when they're starting out, they go in here and they're like, I guess I should offer metal and canvas and gallery boards and frame prints and acrylic prints and wood prints. What are wood prints? I don't know. I should probably offer them. Oh, and I guess they sell exposures, so people must like them, and a thin wrap. Oh gosh, and bamboo mount. So that's kind of cool. So they go through and they start feeling like you need to offer all of these different things. But if you have all of these different things that you're offering, your clients just get completely overwhelmed. And here's another just really, really crazy little tidbit is you're only really going to sell the things that you absolutely love. And even if you're in the same market. So for instance, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. My good friend, Kim Hollis, is a pet photographer, also in the same market. We serve the same market. Her most popular items to sell are metals and acrylic blocks. Mine, I don't even offer either of those. And my people like to do like framed canvases and my framed artwork because that's what I love. So she sells what she loves. I sell what I love. And the clients that love those things too end up finding us. So what you want to do, and truly, I've had medals on my price list before and they didn't really sell because I think my energy wasn't behind it. So when I'm telling people about what I do and what I can offer, there's definitely an energy that comes across when I'm explaining these different things. So go to the labs. If you can go to a big trade show like Imaging or WPPI, or there's like, I think it's Photo Plus in New York, there's some more regional ones. And then you can see some labs there and see their samples. It's a great thing to do, but you don't have to. At least go to the labs website, check out what you love. In, excuse me, the Hair of the Dog Circle community and the Academy side, we do have some product shares. So our members will share different products that they offer. Excuse me, losing my voice. Share different products that they offer and, kind of give their review of what they love about it. So there's definitely some different ways to figure out what it is you want to offer. So how many products do you really need? I recommend no more than 3 types of wall art. If you have a whole bunch that you love, I'm somewhat guilty of that. I love wall art. I mean, that is why I do this. It is my favorite thing to sell. I have it priced as to 2 different types. I have my classic collection and my signature collection. And my classic collection is just canvases and 1 frame print option from Pro DPI. It's like either the ash or walnut thin frame, no acrylic, no matting, super simple. So that's it. Classic, you get unframed canvas or that, and they can add on a frame for the canvas if they like. And then my signature side, my signature collection really could be framed acrylic. It could be any custom framing. It can be beautiful watercolor float mounted images, because those tended to be approximately the same price. So I just kind of put them together on my price list as one price, because what you want to avoid is a price list looking like this. You guys, yes, this was the price list I used in 2011. Please raise your right hand and tell me that you will not think any less of me. You guys, I had a $5,000 sale from this price list. How? I don't know. But I wanted to share with you, it's okay to start where you are. Like, you don't need it to look like this out of the bat. I mean, it's certainly nice. And we have templates in the Academy that you guys can grab, and your stuff can look a hell of a lot better than this just off the bat with the templates that we have. But the one thing I wanted to share on here is there's just so many numbers and words and no pictures, and people just, their brain shuts down. We are we're selling emotion. We're selling this connection. We're selling the connection to the images. So we want to keep them in this, kind of beautiful, like almost euphoric state of like, oh man, yeah, that would look beautiful above my couch. And the pricing is simple. It's just up to certain sizes. I have 5 different size options. So that's it. If they want a 40 by 60, I'll just do a custom price. I don't put that on there because it is just so massively big and the number is big and scary. So I just keep it priced up to 30 by 40, but I do have that bigger one available. So anyway, let's go back here. How many products do I really need? 1 to 3 types of wall art, 1 to 3 types of albums or folio boxes. If you want, you don't even have to have albums. You don't have to have wall art. A set of prints. Remember, 3 to 5 prints. Don't have those single prints. And the same thing with digital files. That's really all you need. That's all that's on my price list. I have a couple little extras of like a little desk thing, but I don't really advertise them. I don't really put them in my product guide. I might at the very last page. But it's more of we focus on wall art, focus on what it is you want to sell, whether that's wall art or albums, your signature pieces, and then that is what you will sell. All right. Mistake number 6, undervaluing digital files. Here it is. Here's one of these Etsy things. There's a gazillion of them, of these price lists. 4 by 6, $8. 8 by 10, $12, 12 by 18, 22. Like, you will never be profitable at this unless you are a very, very like school photograph, kind of like high volume. There are a couple people like Richie Schwartz in New York that he runs a high volume business. at lower price points, and he is insanely profitable, but it's run as a high volume business. You cannot have prices like this and have 50 clients a year and expect to be profitable. So it just depends what type of business you want to run. So when you're pricing your digital files, you want your digital files to be the most expensive thing on your price list. And you can also lead them or use them to lead your clients to that desired average sale that I talked about with the bonus schedule, or giving them a discount on the digital files if they purchase what you want them to purchase first, like a wall piece or an album. So therefore, price your collection of all your digital files at or above your happy place sale amount. Like the amount that if somebody purchased just their digital files with nothing else, you'd be like, yeah, woo woo, you'd be like ready to celebrate. But then what I like to do is I offer ways for those digital files to become less expensive after purchasing, again, what I want my clients to purchase, which are tangible, beautiful products. This has worked so well for me, you guys. In 10 plus years, I've only ever had one client purchase just the digital files, and that's because they are moving out of the country. So I feel like that's a pretty good track record. All right. So here's again, I mentioned real quick, like a digital file pricing example. If your sales goal is $1,500, then you can have all digital files as 2,000, maybe 20 is 1,500, maybe 10 files is 1,200, and 5 files, 750. Start with that highest one, like start with that all digital files happy place number at or above your sales goal, and then kind of break out different sets underneath. And then I want you to do a little bit more math, because one of the keys is to make sure that as the number of files in the collection goes up, the price per file goes down. So if we do this math, assuming there's 30 files that you usually have in a session, just pick your average. At $2,000, it's $65 per file, assuming 30 files. At 20 files, $1,500, $75 per file. So it's gotten a little bit more expensive. 10 files, $1,200, $120 per file. 5 files, $750, $150 per file. What you want to avoid is like 5 files being $100 a file, 10 files being $120, even still $100 a file. You want to give them a little bit discount on those files as they go up in quantity. Does that make sense? So that is a good, easy way to price those digitals, because everybody's always asking, like, what should the pricing for digitals be? And it really depends on your goals. It depends on your pricing goals, what you want that target sales average to be, because we just assign value to the digitals and there is no hard and fast rule. Now, one thing I do want to say, actually, we'll talk about it here when we get into mistake number 7, which is a belief that clients decide solely on price. If you are selling only digital files without any sort of tangible anything, without a higher level of service, that is a risk. Because even if your work is like, to the moon, out to the stars, amazing, they're still going to look at your $2,000 digital files and compare them to the person down the street that's selling all the digital files for $250, even if your work is night and day different. Clients don't necessarily see that. They just see digital file to digital file and they compare those prices. So one thing you need to do is to make that work a little bit better is, again, pairing it with a higher level service, pairing it with these different items like wall art or albums. So therefore, remember, by giving those bonuses, it takes the client from like, man, $2,000 to, oh, I can get it for free and also get this album and this wall piece. They switch into value seekers when you have things like that. Okay, so that's your warning. All right, guys, it's a time to repeat after me. Everybody repeat after me. My friends and family are not my clients. My friends and family do not understand boutique photography businesses. My friends and family are only trying to protect me. Last but not least, there are clients that value what I have to offer in every market. You guys, I want to do a little exercise here. I want you to think of something that you wanted to purchase. Something that was maybe a little bit of a splurge. Maybe it was a little bit more than you originally anticipated. How did it feel? How did you feel about the purchase, like beforehand when you first found out about it? What emotions did you go through as you were deciding to make that purchase, leading up to that purchase? And then how did you feel after the purchase, like when you made it? And then how do you feel about that purchase now? So I have 2 examples for this. Number one, I've talked about before, and that's when I decided to rebrand my photography business. Most photography rebrand services were coming in the $2,000 to $3,000 ballpark. But then I found this company that I just head over heels fell in love with, loved their designs, loved the personality, loved everything about it. And they were about 2.5 to 3 times that. And I was like, I love it. Oh my gosh, I'm just going to do it. It's the right fit. This is what I need. And I was so excited. And I sent my inquiry and I thought to myself, I was just like, I hope they can work with me. And I had this epiphany and I'm like, this is what my clients feel, or I want them to feel, right? That they are so excited to work with me that they are sending their inquiry, hoping that I have time for them, hoping that I will be able to serve them, and being totally fine with that price. And sometimes they come to us and they aren't sure, they think the price is going to be $200, and we tell them the price and they're like, whew, that's a bit more. And they can't do it right then. I can't tell you how many clients have come back a year or 2 after they first inquired, and then they're ready to book because it was more than they thought at first, but they didn't turn into client right then and there. So it was more than they expected and had at the time, or were able to spend at the time, but they saw the value and they wanted to still do it. And they came back later. And then, after you make that purchase, and then how do you feel about it afterwards? I mean, it's been like probably 6 years since I did that rebrand, and I still love everything that they created for me. And I'm so very thankful for it. And then one of the other kind of splurge purchases was our trip to the Galapagos recently. By far the most expensive vacation I have ever taken. Insane, major splurge, 100% worth it. It's been like a lifelong dream. My kids obsessed about it. They loved it. It was just like all of the things. And so now I have this lifelong memory that was 100% worth every penny. So this is, again, what our clients think of us. I just got an email from a client. It was a client probably 6-7 years ago that their dog had passed about a year ago. And, for a couple months, they couldn't even look at the images. And now she emailed me and just said, like, these are more valuable than ever now, because that's all they have left. And so that's what we do. And that's the value we need to share. And that is, why it's valuable to have everything priced as we do, and to be able to price for profit. So that's mistake number 7. Do not think that just because you are pricing for a profitability way, the clients are only going to judge you and your services based on your price. They aren't. As long as you are showing them how the value is, like telling them how you're different, telling them the value of the products, telling them, like sharing experiences from other clients, things like that, that really make those emotional connections, and using the storytelling. Okay. Oh, all right. Those are our 7 mistakes, but I have a question for you. So you now had the warning of these mistakes that so many people make. And I want to ask you, like, how much of an impact will even one of these potentially have on your business? And the truth is, the pricing your photography is both a science and an art. We talked about the science with the cost of goods sold. We talked about the art with moving in those digital files. And our ego likes to trip us up by telling us that no one's ever going to pay any of these prices, just because it's trying to keep us safe. And our ego is really good at questioning, just like our friends and family, saying, who do you think you are? You're out of your ever loving mind. But you guys, There are, again, people that value this in every single market. There are people that are busy in every single market that will pay for you to do this. And if you say, hey, here's the digital files, just go here and print stuff out and this and that, they'd be like, I don't have time. I just want you to do it. I will pay more for you to do this for me. And knowing that they're getting the beautiful value and the high quality products that we can offer them, much more so than if they purchased it elsewhere. So for those of you guys that aren't in the Hair of the Dog Academy, and you guys in the Academy, I still want to help. Pricing is like my superpower. I love numbers. I can look at price lists all day long. It's like my most favorite thing ever. So if you're not a member though, when you join the Academy, we are going to be gifting you, this is only for the next few days, our full pricing and sales course. It has a $497 value of purchase separately. It's yours absolutely free to keep forever, even if you stay in the Academy for only a month, no commitment. And it is just 19 modules of all of the pricing things, all of the stuff. And then if you want to join as a yearly member, you're also going to receive an individual pricing review from me. So you send me your price list and I'll record a video, like a Loom video, going over it, telling you how you can make it a bit more profitable and any tweaks that you can make there if you're joining as a yearly member. And that just needs to be redeemed within 90 days. But it's awesome. I love doing that. It's like my most favorite thing. So anyway, so what do you get? You get a comprehensive training on all the aspects of pricing and sales, and all the videos are now online, 100% online, lifetime access to updates. We're going to be totally revamping this course too over the next couple months. There'll be a sample price list. Oh my gosh, so much more in there. And then as an Academy member, you also get access to all of these things while you're in the Academy. So fundamentals, pet photography ED with Kim Hartz, behind the lenses, guest artist training, the rest of our business masterclasses, marketing and business essentials and email marketing, monthly shooting challenges, office hours, critique corner, and our new circle community, all those different things. Marcy is someone that I worked with recently on her pricing. And she said that I gave her suggestions and the confidence to increase her prices after all. So I told her, I think her highest one was $8.99 and her sales goal was over $1,000. I'm like, well, if you don't have what you want people to buy, then how can you possibly have them buy it? So we increased her highest package from $8.99 to $19.99, reworked what was in her packages. And the next client she had purchased her new largest package. But not only that, she also added on additional artwork and albums, and her final sale was $4,000, her highest sale so far. So, oh my gosh, when students send me things like this, I'm just like so ridiculously excited because, again, my favorite thing to do. I love helping you guys make more money, and that's what I want to do. And hopefully that's what I did here in this free training too, that even if you guys decide not to join the Academy, that it's not right for you right now, that you can take these 7 tips and tweak your pricing, overhaul your pricing, and become more profitable. So again, if you'd like to join us, hairofthedogacademy.com/pricing bonus, and you will get that pricing and sales training as a free gift to you. But I would love to see you in there. Now let's do some questions. So I know I saw some questions going on there. Amanda, let me know.
We did. We got
first.
eight questions so far.
Right,
so I'm just going to ask them in the order that they came in. So the first one came from Megan. She's asking, when you deliver high resolution files, do you limit the file size?
Oh, okay. Great question. I used to. Well, actually, I used to, and then I didn't, and now I do again. But the reason I do again now is I'm shooting with an R5 and nobody needs a 30 megabyte file. So I used to limit it to, I think I made it like 3,500 pixels on the long side. And I would tell people they're printable at 8x10. But I really discovered my clients weren't printing wall art. They were buying the digital files to have them to use on a card, maybe to make themselves a little calendar, make a couple prints. They weren't printing large wall pieces. They were getting all their artwork from me. So I just started giving them the full res files. And that was fine. So that's what I did for a while. The only reason I limit it now, I change it to 4,500 pixels on the long side at a quality of 10 instead of 12 there in Photoshop. And so that takes it from gosh, like a 25 megabyte file down to like 5 megabytes. I want to keep my files under 10 megabytes when I give it to them, just so they can handle them better. And if they're uploading it to, like Minted for cards, some of those software won't let, or some of those sites won't let you upload a 20 megabyte file. So I don't want them to be like, oh, the file's too big, because they don't know how to resize it. So my goal is to give them somewhere like 5 to 10 megabyte file sizes.
Oh, really
Oh,
quick.
Derek, thank you for that. Derek just said, I forgot to change. Just a second. The site into it's still in sandbox test mode. I was running around this morning doing that and forgot to fix that. Hold on 1 second. It'll take me here. We will update. Live, save. Okay, Derek, you should be good. 3, 2, 1, go ahead. Sorry. All right, go ahead, Amanda.
Okay, so question 2 out of 8 from Janet. Do you still make your session fee a product credit?
Yes. So yes, I do. The only thing I changed, it is a product credit if they purchase a collection or if they purchase over $1,000. So if they're going to come in and just buy like my 5 prints, then I keep the session fee. So I wasn't having anybody order less than 1,000, but I don't know. It just, I thought wording it that way made it, again, more clear, set the expectation of like, you're going to be spending 4 figures. So that's how I've changed it.
Next question comes from Cindy. Do you include the digital with wall art prints?
I was not, but I am now. This year, I'm actually changing my pricing a bit to just kind of increase the prices of the products a little bit, and any wall pieces or albums will include the high-res digital corresponding one. So if they get an album, it includes the digital files from that album. If they get a wall piece, it includes that digital file as well. It's just something to add value. And again, it's not going to have any more time for me. I'm already editing the images anyway, and just something nice that I want to do for my clients. One other way you can do that, if you don't want to do it for your album, if you like, because it's kind of, then I want my album prices to be a little bit higher. But if you want your album prices to be a little bit lower, maybe that 8 to 10 or 7 to 10 times, then you can also offer to add on the digital files at, $2.99, $4.99. Again, whatever price you want that makes sense to help get you to whatever your desired sale is.
Haley's asking the section where you said how to say no without saying no.
Yep.
What could you say when you send the pricing and they still ask for a 10 or 15 minute session with one great image?
I would let them know if I have like a mini session type thing that would work for them coming up. Like if I'm doing any sort of limited edition, things like that, I'll let them know that I periodically do that. Either I have it on the calendar or I don't have any on the calendar right now, but I'll put your name on my list to let you know if next time I offer something like that. Or I would just say, well, I'm sorry, I don't really have, I have all of my sessions that I offer are of this length to, with the goal of creating beautiful custom artwork. If there's other photographers, then I would probably refer them out if I knew somebody that offered something like that.
Okay, this question comes from Elena. Can I still use the same pricing strategy if I'm just starting to do sessions?
Oh, yes. It's a great question, Elena. Yes. So what I recommend, if you're just starting, do this work, figure out what your pricing needs to be profitable. And you can start off with like, a limited time offer or a introductory special where, you're offering a collection of just some digital files or a discount on wall pieces, but at least you've figured out what your work needs to be profitable. And those early clients that are getting a great deal know they're getting a deal. You're not setting them up thinking like, oh, she was great and super cheap, and telling everybody she was great and super cheap. It would be, oh, she was great. She had an introductory special. I don't know if it's still going on, but it was awesome. So it's setting a different expectation of what you're actually worth, even if you're not quite ready to charge those prices.
This question comes from Missy. If a client wants a custom wall art piece and the lab needs to produce a quote, how do you manage payment during the IPS?
Oh, that's a great question. I generally at least have kind of a ballpark-ish, or if they have other things that they know they want, I'll just take a deposit usually. So, maybe it's just $1,000 deposit, and I'll say I'll get that final price there, and then I would send them the final invoice. But I do at least take a deposit, or we can pay for the other things until I get that final quote for that one random piece in question.
Julie's asking, what recommendations do you have for obtaining images for your portfolio, but still creating value?
Oh, okay. Great question. Same kind of thing where I would maybe let them know the value of what they're getting. So, hey, I'm offering complimentary sessions because I'm creating some things for my portfolio for my new website. I'd like to create sessions at this location. Normal session rate is $299. You're going to get a complimentary session and XYZ, a value of whatever. So the ways you can do that is for portfolio sessions, you can give them, a digital file or two that you're going to edit anyway, and you choose. You can practice having a little sales session with them, either via Zoom or in person, where you show them the images. They choose some favorites. They could get a free print. You can give them a dollar amount voucher that they can use towards whatever they want. Or some people, it kind of depends where you are and how in demand you are, where some people might just give a free session and they have to purchase everything afterwards. But if you're just starting out and you don't have the images yet to really show them, then you might want to, might have to give people a little bit more to, encourage them to take the time to do that. But you don't have to give away everything. You can always just give them a digital file or two or a print or two and give them an opportunity to purchase more. And you can let them know, these are valued at, but because you're a portfolio, building client, you can purchase them at 50% off or, whatever it is, but you can let them know what the value is.
Tracy's asking, would you recommend 3 or 4 installments so people can afford wall art experiences?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have always offered no extra fee payment plans. I don't I think I had it on my site. I'm not sure if I still do. The payment plans are available. I should add it back on if it's not. But I would say payment plans are available. And if they ask, or if they say, oh gosh, that's a bit more than we wanted to spend, I'll just say, I do offer a no additional fee payment plan, and I can split up your payment. We can split it up however you like, up to 6 months. And for that, no additional fee. I just create my QuickBooks invoice, and they can just keep accessing it and make payments whenever they'd like. Sometimes you can set up like an actual payment plan that'll charge their card on the first of each month, if you'd like to set it up that way with different merchant services. But what I do is I don't start to edit anything until it's at least paid in half. And then once it's paid about 2/3, I'll order everything, and then they don't get it till the very end, till it's paid off. Knock on wood, I have not had issues with that. And I know quite a few other people haven't either. And it's helped still allow people to get some of the things they wanted that they wouldn't have been able to get if it had all been due right then and there.
But the last 2 questions are at the bottom of the chat. So Jacqueline,
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm at the point, that one right
Beth
there.
and Amy. Okay. Beth says, if I'm just starting out and offering limited time pricing, should I have my price list to give them to show them what prices will be? Yes and no. If it's going to prevent you from getting out and shooting and starting to do some things, you don't need to. If you can throw something together pretty easily, again, in the Academy, we have some really easy 1-page pricing templates or a whole big pricing guide. Then you can create something on there and just say, yeah, here's my pricing, or you can just even cross it off in Canva. For those of you guys in the Academy using our design templates, we had the Photoshop files, but we've also built them all in Canva. I hate designing things in Photoshop now because Canva is life changer. It's amazing, and you don't need to pay to use it. You can still just go and use it with the templates, even if you don't pay. But if you pay for a Canva subscription, you can save your branding and files and all that stuff. But anyway, so it really depends. Is Beth, for the long story short. If you have the time to throw something together, that's great, but it's not required. Amy's asking, do you think offering 3 or 4 package option works better? Is there a certain amount each setup? Wait, is there a certain amount each setup to the next, step up to the next package should be? So I love collections. Collections are great. Not required, not required. Like if you want to try some collections, they're awesome. For the longest time, I've had collections, or you could do a la carte. Being able to do the a la carte and that digital file bonus schedule is a great way. If somebody's like, oh man, I want this collection, but I don't want this, and I want to swap out this, then I can say, oh, well, the collections aren't swappable, but if you want to order a la carte, you have the bonus schedule available to you, which is where you get those discounts on digital files. So to create your collections, I would, number one, figure out your goal, your sales goal per session. That's your middle collection price. And then your like happy place goal is above, and your kind of lowest, what I need to walk out the door, is towards the bottom. And you want that bottom to package to be really, really basic. Like I love a $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 package offer, with the lowest one being a couple prints and a small wall piece. And maybe I have those 4 digital files corresponding. And then that middle one's maybe a medium album and a wall piece and all those corresponding digitals. Then the high one's like all the digitals, a bigger wall piece and a nicer album. So something like that. I was going to say something else. Oh, well. But yeah, so collections are great, but that's definitely a good way to do that. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. The one thing you want to look at for the different step prices between is you want it to be somewhat even. It doesn't have to be exactly even, but you don't want like $4.95, $6.95, $26.95. Like, no. You want it to be somewhat even. And you also don't want necessarily it to be like $3.99, $4.99, $6.99. Like for certain things, if it's a mini session type thing, that might work. But for our like boutique sessions, they tend to be a little bit further apart. So usually about $500 between $500 to $1,000 between your session price is a good kind of happy place that I've found. Okay. Hold on, let me see a couple more in here. How clients can see and choose their pictures after editing the session. I do an in-person sales session, or during COVID, we were doing Zoom. I still give my clients an opportunity if they'd like to do Zoom, I'll do that with them, or I invite them here. Most of them have been coming here now. So we just sit down together and go through. And in that pricing and sales masterclass, guys, I walk through a whole sales session, talk about the 8 steps of setting up the sale that happen like along the beginning during the inquiry phase, all those different things. So that's how I do that, Elena. And then Jane, how do I deliver my digital files? It is not Dropbox or a jump drive anymore. Resolution is full resolution, but like I mentioned, R5 giant files, I do shrink them down to 4,500 pixels at a savings of like a quality of 10 out of 12, so that my size is about 5 to 7 megabytes per file. And I deliver it through an online gallery. I use CloudSpot. You can use PixieSet or anything like that. So I create a gallery there. They can download the files. I also have the gallery set up connected to a Pro Lab. It goes through, I think, White House Custom Color, and the one I have it set up. And so that way I let them know, hey, if you want to make any prints, you can order prints in your gallery and it'll get printed from a Pro Lab. And I just mark it up like $1 or $2. I'm not looking to make money off them ordering additional prints. It's really just a service I want them to have so they can get good looking prints, because I've already made money on the session. They purchased the digital files from me, so I don't need to mark that up. It's just $1 or $2. All right. How do you present your prints in a wall art to your client? Gotcha, Brenda. I do my prints in a box with some tissue paper. I order just some tissue paper and my branding colors from any place online. And then I have a box that I got from like Marathon Press, but you can also get boxes or folders from Tyndall or Rice Studio Supply. And then for bigger prints, I have big frame bags that I order from Rice Studio Supply. Tyndall's another one, Tyndall. They're great labs. Well, they're great companies that sell photography packaging stuff. So not prints, but just all the packaging gear. And it's fantastic. Jackie, what was your question? Hold on, I'm looking up here. I found it. Getting to the point where I'm getting people asking about my images as art, is then they aren't of themselves, they're images from workshops. I'm thinking that those I shouldn't sell in smaller sizes, more artwork. Do I go off of my regular price list to clients, or should I create a different price list for bigger prints, canvases, perhaps? I'm not super familiar with the whole fine art world. I would imagine you would still want to stick to about 25% cost of goods sold. So I would probably have it still pretty darn close to whatever I'm selling it for my regular private clients. And then of course you just want to make sure that you had in your model property release that you're able to then, make additional copies and sell those images to other people. But that's usually included in most of those releases. All right. Cool. Yeah, Linda, the packaging companies were Tyndall, Marathon Press, Rice Studio Supply. Tyndall is Tyndall. All right. Awesome, guys. Loved having you here. Thanks so much for joining me for this training. Again, it's going to be live in the Hair of the Dog free community until February 1st. And if you would like to join us inside the academy and receive that pricing and sales bonus. And again, if you sign up as a yearly member, I will also do a personal pricing review for you. You can do that through February 1st. And we would love to see you in there. If you guys have any questions, let us know. And definitely go implement some of these tips and let us know how it goes. I would love to hear the results of any of these tips that you guys implement. And again, thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you guys in the community.